Hey guys, it's Shawn. I want to talk about working together on problems in a nice way. We're really going to be thinking about this in terms of business legal issues, and it's been my experience that you can do a lot more with this. You can catch a lot more flies with honey than vinegar, as they say, and you can usually accomplish a lot more in a legal dispute by being a cooperative, good citizen, working together with the other side versus being a tough, mean person. And I know a lot of people out there have the tendency to say, hey, I'm angry, right? A lot of business situations can get emotional, they can get angry. We feel double crossed. But there's a lot to be said in the process about being nice and to work problems out the nice way. And today I'm going to talk about why we should consider that as a first option. Now, it doesn't mean we always end up that way. It doesn't mean it's always the strategy we pick. Sometimes we choose to be tough and harsher and to be more matter of fact. But being nice often leads to better results in resolving your situation. It may be counterintuitive. It may feel like something you don't want to do if there's a problem, but there's a lot of reasons why it's a good idea. Of course, we're talking theoretically, it's not specific legal advice. We're just talking generally about working out problems. Get your counsel for your legal problems to work with you. We're just here to educate, inform, give you ideas. Can you go hardline? There's almost always an option to go hardline. If you listen to people out there, you can get sued over everything, and you do see it. People get sued over all kind of crazy stuff. There was a headline not too long ago where somebody was getting sued for, leaving their Jeep, and then one of the employees at the dealership, killed another employee, and they wanted to go after the Jeep owner. It was obvious a play by the lawyer to bring in more money because there were reasons why they couldn't sue the Jeep dealership under local law. That's crazy, right? And you could just jump in and start suing everybody and go hard line. But often that's not going to get you your desired outcome. Just jumping in, going directly into attack mode, going from having a problem without any discussion directly into a lawsuit is usually going to cause both sides to get defensive, to tighten up, to obviously retain counsel, which you probably want to retain counsel even in the early stages of negotiation. But people are going to start getting more formal. Obviously, you'll start having court-imposed deadlines if you're in actual litigation. So there's a lot of reasons why going hardline is really a tough place to go, right? It puts you in a hard spot. So yes, a lot of times you can go hardline depending on your facts. But for the reasons we're going to talk about today, you often want to still remain on the nicer side of the ledger because it's just going to be more cost effective and time effective. When I talk to my clients, that's two things they're usually concerned about: keeping costs down, saving their time, and for a lot of them, they want to focus on other aspects of their business, right? They don't want to be focused on the past. They don't want to be focused on disputes. They want to be focused on the future and growth. The downside of hardline is that dig-in factor, right? And it causes the other side to go hardline. I've been in cases where the other side just suddenly files a lawsuit. Maybe we're working on a solution, we're negotiating, we're trying to find an answer, and then suddenly one person just sues the other. That can be the real downside of going hardline, is now suddenly you're in expensive, difficult litigation with all of the things that come with litigation, right? Litigation is not a picnic, right? It ends up with a public filing generally against you. You are now in the lawsuit and you're basically stuck in the lawsuit till you get out. It's going to be time consuming. There will be deadlines. There will be things that have to get done. And unless you want to lose that lawsuit and incur the liability, otherwise you've got to stay in that process. So it can put you in a really difficult spot. It also takes away a lot of the negotiations. Yes, there are negotiations for settlements once a lawsuit's going. There are negotiations once people lay down the gauntlet and make big, unreasonable demands. You can keep talking, but a lot of times you've kind of killed the power or the flavor of those negotiations. So there is a real downside to being too hardline. It takes a lot of your options off the table, may make your life a lot difficult. You also learn a lot by being nice. When you go in hard line and start threatening and pushing towards litigation, you cut off a lot of communications, right? And that means you're not going to learn as much. You're not going to know what the other person is thinking. You may not get to see their positions until we get into formal court filings. You may not be able to feel out what settlement they're willing to do. Sometimes we find, even if it's not what we really wanted to do, a lot of times settling is a good idea. And we learn whether we want to settle or not, and whether we want to advance the ball by being nice and negotiating back and forth. So there's a lot of learning and soft information that can come in a dispute resolution process by just being nice and just working with the other person. If we're being tough and we're forcing everything, they're generally going to recoil and be tough back. But if we're nice, most of the time, the other person feels compelled to be nice. And I've been in, even recently, a situation where we had people in a deal that didn't really get along. They've had a long history of having problems. But I was in, and then one of the other people retained a lawyer, so they had a lawyer. So there's a lot of discussions between the lawyers. And we built a relationship, that we're really working together and talking. So while some of the core business people are not on the best of terms, the lawyers are on working terms. We're communicating, we're sharing information, we're moving the business forward. That is a good compromise, and it's good for everybody. It's good for the business to have open communications and to be moving the business forward rather than spending everybody's time and energy in a litigation proceeding. But that only came from being nice, and we learned a lot about why the other person was upset, about why things were breaking down, and we also learned about the paths we could possibly pursue to go forward by being nice. And it creates new possibilities. Being nice allows collaboration. Again, if you go hard line, you force a lawsuit, you go tough, you're generally going to start eliminating possibilities. There's going to be less and less things you can do. But if you're friendly, if you're approachable, if you're easy to work with, you may well create possibilities. New things that could happen will often arise, right? What could we figure out? What could we collaborate on? You want this, we want that, we're too far apart. But if we get in the mode of discussing and working together, and again, if the business people are too far apart, maybe the lawyers can still work together. We can create new possibilities of getting through things without taking each other to task. So, you want to really think about how this comes together in your case, right? Being nice is often seen as a sign of weakness, but for the long-term benefit of your business, it can often be a place of strength. Knowing who you are, knowing what you care about, and loving your business enough to allow yourself to step back, be understanding, be loving, be friendly with the other person can really lead to a point of more economic growth. And at the end of the day, that should be one of our major purposes in business for most of us, is to grow the business, to create a bigger pie, to have more wealth for ourselves and our business partners and for the entire ecosystem. So sometimes it pays just to be nice, to avoid getting mean and tough, and to just get through things. We'd love to hear your comments on what you think, and if you think it's worthwhile sometimes in business to be nice, to be friendly, and to work with the other person. I'll catch you in the comments soon. Hope you subscribed, rung the bell for notifications, and give a like to this video so other folks can see it. I'll catch you soon. It's Shawn signing off.